evening, everybody. We're going to try that again. I swore we were on Baltimore Street, so we're going to say good evening, everybody. Good evening! There we go, and thank you for joining us on another delayed but yet great National Night Out. We've had a great time so far. We're going to keep going all across the city of Baltimore. It's a pleasure to be here with, most importantly, all of you that are in front of us, our community members and folks off the stage, but on the stage with our Council President Mosby, Councilman Bullock, Sheriff Cogan, Commissioner Worley, Director Mavronis, Deputy State's Attorney Flynn. We know that Ray Conway, representing Congressman Fume, is going to come. Bart Kennedy, representing Senator Van Hollen. All of our federal law enforcement partners that we have with us today. And I would also like to thank, of course, the most important person on the stage, Mr. Tim Bridges, and everyone at Fayette Street Outreach for hosting this National Night Out event and taking a critical step toward fostering stronger relationships between our public safety agencies and the communities that they serve. I also want to thank you for being flexible. We know it wasn't easy to move the celebration from last week to this week, but it was the right thing to do. Folks are like, well, it didn't rain, but if it did rain like it did the 3 years, you'd have been yelling at me. As we stand here today, we have to understand how far, not we on this stage, but how far we as a community, as a city, have come in dealing with gun violence in our city, but yet how much farther we have to go. Baltimore, as we stand here today, we have reduced homicides by yet another 29% this year. And non-fatal shootings by 39% this year. This, of course, is on top of the historic reduction that we had last year. And this progress would not have been possible without buy-in from Baltimoreans who have stepped up and been a true partner in this work. Baltimoreans who've said that, Mr. President, in your words, enough is enough. Like Tim and Mr. Sterling at Fayette Street Outreach, who have partnered with BPD and MONSE to stand up a neighborhood policing plan in their neighborhood. We are putting communities at the center of our public safety strategy because we understand that we cannot build a better Baltimore in a vacuum. It takes all of us, law enforcement, local, state, and federal officials, the justice system, and residents working hand in hand to make our community safer, and that's what National Night Out is all about. Residents coming together with everyone in their community to strengthen relationships and show how we can build a safer community together. But we know that work doesn't stop today or tomorrow, but it's an important platform to build that sense of community and togetherness that we know Fayette Street has each and every day to boost engagement and cooperation and to pave a way for the Baltimore that we all want to see. One where everyone feels safe and protected regardless of zip code, ethnicity, or race. So I want to say have a great National Night Out. For once it's not 100 degrees on National Night Out. Amen. And we ask that these conversations and these celebrations, but most importantly, the partnership continues each and every day in Baltimore because we can together cure our city of this disease of gun violence. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Rich Worley. Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor Scott, elected officials, law enforcement partners, and community leaders. But thanks to each of you. Additional thanks to Tim Bridges of Fayette Street Outreach for hosting such a wonderful event. I'm thrilled to be here today to be a part of this. The mayor's already talked about the great work that the BPD has done. We couldn't have done it with all of our partners, especially the community. We must continue to work hand in hand with the community through events like this so that we continue to build back the trust that we lost a few years ago, and we're building that back one person at a time. Much of what we've accomplished throughout the districts and throughout the city could not have been accomplished without the partnerships that we have here today and throughout the city that we'll visit tonight. Our officers are walking more afoot, doing more business checks, and collaborating more with the community in meetings. It's because of these relationships that we're building that we are continuing to the success that we had last year and continue this year. These partnerships must continue as we finish up, hopefully, the last part of 2024 and move into 2025 on a positive note. Through the programs like the Group Violence Reduction Strategy, Community Policing Initiatives, and us offering people a way out of way out of crime by giving them alternatives. You don't have to take the alternatives, but you do have to stop the criminal behavior. Thank you all for your cooperation. Have a great National Night Out and keep up the good work. I will now turn it over to Council President Mosby.
As the mayor said, when I say enough is, you say enough. Enough is. Enough. Enough is. Enough. Enough is. Enough. That's how I started my journey in public safety, particularly at National Nights Out. And this is a bittersweet moment because it will be my last National Night Out. But every single time we come together, you know, no matter if it's folks from City Hall, Annapolis, to community leaders, to business leaders, to the philanthropic community, to our law enforcement partners, we say enough is truly enough. You know, understanding and knowing that we see the conditions of our communities improving while crime steadily reducing every single year, Mr. Mayor, we understand and know that we cannot allow complacency to be the enemy and the evil for progress. That's why it's important for us to collectively come together and have this stance, and for us to show folks, no matter what zip code, no matter what community, no matter what background you are in or from in the city of Baltimore, you should feel safe, you should feel strong, and you should feel supported by your community. And that's why we have this strong unity of force up here standing with the mayor here today. When I say enough is, you say enough. Enough is. Enough. Enough is. Enough. Enough is. Enough. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the councilman of this district, and that's Councilman John Bullock. Give your hand of applause.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. To those of you who are not from here, welcome to West Baltimore. Welcome to the 9th District. It is a pleasure to be in front of you. And I love hearing the energy of our young people. And I say that as a father with these other great fathers and elected officials up here as well. You probably saw my youngest son, George, who's over in the corner. But again, just like you, we recognize that we want a brighter future for our young people, for our sons, for your daughters, for your grandkids. And as I talk to my son, George, about community, one of the things we recognize that we can't do anything by ourselves. This is not a one-person job. This is all of us working together. And so when you hear about Monty and you hear about Public Works and you hear about the police department and the sheriff's office, all of us working together, whether we're talking about the cleanliness of our community, if we're talking about the housing department, if we're talking about revitalizing our communities, all of this comes together. But I'd be remiss to mention if I did not mention the arts. And so I was so happy to see the arts represented here. Because again, that's the lifeblood of our community, how we express ourselves, how we show joy, how we deal with our pain as well. So again, to everybody that's out here, again, National Night Out is one night, but it's a very important night. And we can showcase our partners like Bon Secours, Community Works, doing some fantastic things out here, school supplies for young people, but also a young man who operates his own food truck, right? So we start looking at what our young people are doing. And I love that some media outlets are here because they can tell the good stories, the things that are positive that are happening in our communities, the things we have to uplift. So if you can't tell, I'm excited to be here. I enjoy doing this work, and I enjoy doing it with our partners in public service. So again, thank you for being here tonight. Enjoy yourselves, and I'm going to turn it over to the Sheriff Cogan. But before I do that, one point I want to make is that when we go to a lot of our neighborhood organizations and events, we oftentimes see the Sheriff's Department represented. So for all the deputies, all the folks who are here, we appreciate you here. But again, over to Sheriff Cogan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for having me here at Fade Street Outreach. There's nothing more important than the public trust, right? And I want to thank my deputies who are here, right? I want to thank them. Raise your hand, right? Because they're in every community. They're working hard, right? I appreciate their work, right? Get to meet them. I'd also like to thank all the kids and adults who put on the deputy sheriff badge, the junior deputy here. So if I can recognize you, right? And that's what we want to see. We want to see the community want to put on a badge, right? Even if it's a toy badge, and we want to see that unity. That's what we want to see. We can't do it without you. The community is paramount if we're going to have safety in the city. And so thank you for inviting us here. Thank you to our deputies. And our deputies are the community, right? There is nothing different between myself and my deputies other than the uniform and the badge we wear. We are you and you are us. So again, thank you for being here. And now I have the pleasure to introduce the special agent in charge of the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, William Dabano.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Dabano. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI Baltimore field office. It's great to be here with everyone, with the community, with our partners. We have an incredible partner with Commissioner Worley and Sheriff Kogan. We are out every day on the streets in Baltimore. Our office is in Woodlawn, but we are here. We live here. We have residents here. I do myself. I love to see the community, and our outreach is incredibly important. We are looking at everything from crimes against children to guns, drugs, gangs, and taking on the most difficult and challenging and most violent criminals out there. And we do that in partnership. There's no way that FBI does this alone. We never do. It always comes to us having strong partnerships and being a strong partner as well. We do that across Maryland, and we have to do that also with our community. And so thank you very much for having the FBI here. We are overjoyed by having this connection. We're going to have tents all over Baltimore City handing out flyers about child safety all the way to elder fraud, and making sure that we're getting our message out that we are not here alone. We're here with our partners, and we stand together with our partners and with the community to make a community that is a safe and a community that you deserve to have that is safe. So I have the pleasure next to introduce the special agent in charge of the ATF, Tony Crosby.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Baltimore. Thank you, Mayor Scott, Commissioner Worley, and our other law enforcement partners, and the community partners, and the community organizations. You are the most important, valued in this community. It is you, and we could not do it without you. So welcome to National Night Out 2024. You know, National Night Out is 40 years strong, having started in Philadelphia in 1984. On behalf of the men and women of ATF, I am honored to be with you this evening and celebrate the strong and trusted partnership between the community and law enforcement. Everyone's participation today, together community and law enforcement, illustrates our commitment to healthy and safe neighborhoods throughout Baltimore. You know better than any of us that it takes everyone to cultivate the important relationships. Your community and schools, your community and faith leaders, your community and social service organizations, your community and countless volunteers, and just as important, your community and law enforcement. I know I speak on behalf of my colleagues, and our relationship with you, the community, is the most important partnership that we have. And we need your support when we are out in the communities, day in and day out. Each of us working hard to keep you safe and to keep everyone safe in the community. I promise ATF will continue to dedicate every resource we have throughout the year to these partnerships, which provide the relationships we need to keep your community safe from firearms, illegal possession of firearms, firearms trafficking, and violent crime. Thank you for including me in this important endeavor today, and I look forward to being over across the city in many different locations. I will next turn it over to Catherine Flynn, Deputy State's Attorney.
Thank you so much for including us in this fabulous event. I want to acknowledge all of our law enforcement partners and all of our partners in the community. I most especially want to thank Fayette Street Outreach and Tim Bridges for helping us with this 40th annual night out. Since coming into office in early 2023, State's Attorney Bates and our team have refocused the work of our office to serve the victims and the witnesses in the communities with compassion, understanding, and vigilance. But that work would not be effective without engaged communities like the ones we see tonight at the many National Night events here in Baltimore. Whether it's a community walk, a town hall, or simply connecting with an engaged resident about an issue for which they have a concern. When we all work together, we're creating a safer city. The data has shown that our collaborative and community-oriented approach is working for everybody in Baltimore City. So on behalf of State's Attorney Bates, who was not available to attend tonight, and our office as a whole, I want to thank each and every one of you for the engagement that you have in the city to help this city get better every day. And I'd like to direct, I now want to turn it over to Director Mavronis. Sorry.
Good evening. Thank you, Deputy State's Attorney Flynn. I'm Stephanie Mavronis, Director of MONSE, the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. It's my pleasure to be here with all of you and so many of our partners in this work to celebrate National Night Out. Tim Bridges, Fayette Street Outreach, thank you for hosting this event and for your partnership. I couldn't think of a better organization to host us this evening. Fayette Street Outreach, which we lovingly call FSO, serves as one of our pilot partner organizations for neighborhood policing plans. This is community-driven, community-designed, collaborative interagency work that we do in partnership with BPD, the City Administrator's Office, and all of our operational agencies. When we talk about co-producing public safety, about elevating and investing in community-designed solutions that not only impact the environment and the conditions of the community, but also make our community safer in the process, this MPP work is part of what we're talking about. When we talk about an all-hands-on-deck approach to public safety, as the mayor has stressed now for years, this is a representation of what we're talking about. The agencies that maintain our communities and our infrastructure, the agencies who help our residents find employment, the community organizations who engage their neighborhoods in the work, alongside our law enforcement and prosecutorial agencies, all have a role to play in building a safer Baltimore. This National Night Out, may we double down on our commitment to Baltimore, to working in partnership, to continuing to drive public safety reductions that show what this city is really made of and the power of relationship. Today is about listening to our neighbors, building bridges, and strengthening our ties to community. But this work is work that we have to do every single day and is at the core of our approach. MONSE is proud to carry that responsibility hand in hand with our community and stands ready to partner in the work ahead. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce a true community partner and our gracious host, FSO Vice President Tim Bridges. Thank you.
So, can somebody out here have something to say? We got a question and answer in a few minutes, so. Oh, okay. We just got. Yeah, we got you. Yeah. So, first, before I start, I just want to ask Kurt to come up and Alicia come up. Two of our partners here. I don't see Mr. Lindsey Johnson from L&J Waste. They're some of our partners.
I didn't see either one of them.
Yeah, they're our partners. But again, my name is Tim Bridges. I serve as the Vice President of the Fayette Street Outreach Community Association. Our community association started in 1993 with the inspiration of our late, great Congressman Elijah Cummings. Ms. Edna Mans Lake, Mr. Andre Lake, our president and our secretary, and of course our treasurer, Mr. Sterling Brunson, right here. We could not do what we could do without great partners. But the other thing I wanted to say is I want to thank our councilman, John Bullock, our 9th District councilman. Most of the residents know him because he comes to the meetings. And he's present. They know him. So not that I'm saying it, but they see him. And so I appreciate that. And I also appreciate this young man. He has a yellow shirt on. His name is Tom Phillips. And so Mr. Phillips, he around here somewhere. But again, we had a walk, and I just want to talk about this mayor right here, Mr. Brandon Scott, Mayor Brandon Scott. In his first year, he came and toured, and his administration toured our community. We walked through the community. And matter of fact, we walked through this lot, and it was vacant. And I just want to say his commitment to us that day was that we're going to help you all build your neighborhood back up, and we're not going to forget the legacy people that are here. And I just want to say on behalf of Fayette Street Outreach, Mr. Mayor, we appreciate you, man, because a lot of times you get a lot of flack for people saying what you're not doing. But look at this area right here. And it couldn't have been done without leadership. And I just want to say with Monsi, you know, AP, Marlena, the whole crew, Stephanie, you know, you couldn't have put together a better crew, Mr. Mayor, because some of those cleanups we did with L&J Waste, we loaded up 10 dumpsters, and Mr. Johnson didn't charge us one dime. He's a partner. And I just want to say, I want to thank LifeBridge, West Baltimore Renaissance, and also Bon Secours for all their support. They are our partners, thick or thin. They're with us and helping us build this neighborhood. We have the Community Resource Center over there on Payson Street, and we have soon to come in the factory that's going to be down on Calhoun and Baltimore Street, a project that West Baltimore Renaissance is doing. So it's all to say that all the help is here. We're trying to put everything in place so that you don't have to say, I don't have a place to get help. So we want to try to make sure that, and with these people behind me, you can look at the fruit. It's right here. You're standing in the fruit. You're standing in the fruit, and it's more to come. Absolutely. So this space is really more to come. So I know that they got a time loan. They got to get going. So if any questions but I just want to thank you all, because we couldn't have did it without y'all. And I want to thank the community and my family. I thank my family right there.
My boss told me I had to take questions, so go ahead, Kenny.
Can you just talk about the effects and impact, that you see year to year just because of National Night Out, and just talk more about how important it is when it comes to the broader strategy of just public safety and community relations?
Yeah, I think that we know that one day isn't going to change anything, right? One day is about building that momentum and building that consistency and helping to build those relationships. But this is how one day can change. Having an event like this where someone's able to get connected and get a job, right, means that they're not out there doing something that might get them hurt, or they may need some kind of other social help, right, and able to get that because of what's happening in the community. Now here they can get that every day from the fine folks that you've already heard from. But this is happening all across the city. And as you heard from every single person that has spoke today, this is about partnership. This is about how everyone's working every single day in the communities and with the communities, not for the communities as has happened in the past. And that really is how we're seeing these reductions. We want to continue down that path. It has to be centered around the community.
What strides has the department made in the last several years? Can you point to them?
I think that when you look at if you're talking about the last few years, this is the first time we've been actually in compliance with full sections of our consent decree. That's a huge deal when you come from where we were in 2015 as a city and as a department when we first entered into that consent decree. But when you think about if you were to ask me 10 years ago, right, 9 years ago, and say that cities from around the country would be sent to Baltimore to look at BPD about policy change, right? People would laugh at that, right? If someone would say to you that the White House will be lifting up Baltimore's example of how to reduce violent crime in your city, people wouldn't believe it. But that's where we are today, right? We are seen as the example for other cities to follow, not us going to other cities to follow them.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course you can, sir.
There's so many empty houses here in Baltimore.
Yeah.
That people are from other places going inside them, living inside these empty houses that's causing problems. What can we do to close up the empty houses to keep the people from going in there that's going to cause problems in the neighborhood?
Yeah, we can work with that. There's several different things, right? I think the DPW director is here. If you give him the locations that you're talking about, we'll make sure that they board them up. But in an event that they do unboard them, and in an event that folks are occupying them, there's ways and legal ways. I know the sheriff knows a lot about that, right, with squatters' rights and those things. But we also have a very, very robust plan to deal with vacants. Our housing commissioner is standing behind you, and she can tell you about how we want to not just piecemeal that, but over the next 15 years in vacant housing in Baltimore altogether. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
big topic. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are about prevention of underlying causes that lead to, harm and death.
Yeah, it's a very great question. I think folks know that I've said for many, many years that gun violence is a public health issue, which is why I legislated and now execute a law that makes the health commissioner the leader of our comprehensive violence prevention plan, because we have to consider all of those things. When someone picks up a gun and shoots someone, it's not just about that incident, right? Yes, we want to make sure that through working with our partners at ATF and our law enforcement partner, that less people who shouldn't have a gun don't have it in their hands, and that's why. Oh, I'm sorry. That's why we do that work each and every day. But we also have to get on the front end. That's why Monty does the work that they do each and every day. That's why these folks here in FSO do the work that they do each and every day. And we want to grow that across the city. So thank y'all. And now we can get the party going, because I know there's some music that's about to start happening. Oh, yes, ma'am. Look, with that haircut, you can ask whatever you want. Oh, thank you.
69 years. We born and raised in the house of living. I know y'all city workers get my complaints off.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to thank us for coming out to the door.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Got it, yeah.
And here comes the mayor himself. Y'all, he could never beat me in track.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
He could never beat me.
If you had ticket number 495-320, 495-320. I just called them. Winner, chicken dinner. Right there. All right, hold on.